Welcome to the English Mystic Podcast. I'm your host, English Mystic, Dragon Shaman, Spirit Whisperer, and Mr. Explorer of all things seen and unseen. You're tuning in to a very special series honouring the epic Dragon Thunder Summit 2025, a worldwide gathering of visionaries, dragon channels, energy workers and soul-shifting guides. The summit brought together 36 incredible speakers from across the world, each sharing their unique gifts, wisdom and connection with the dragon realms. In this podcast series, we're diving deep, one episode at a time, into the essence of each speaker, their transmission, their gifts, and all the healing and awakening and dragon connections they've brought forward. To explore more about each speaker or to access the full summit replays, visit www.dragonthunder2025.com. Now breathe deep, call in your dragons, and let's step through the portal together. Our next speaker is Andena Melchizedek, a seraphim of the Lahara Elohim, discusses the importance of surrendering to the fullness of who you are and trusting your own guidance. She emphasizes that everything is a projection of the self and that we have the power to create inner peace. She also discusses the importance of unlocking the physicality of the self and using language to align with higher frequencies.
Andena Melchizedek. Oh, I better put on my grandma eyes here so I can see. So important. So thank you for being here and on time and ready for your part here, my dear. So we have amazing love to share from this frequency mama who's going to come in and share from her soul integrated, full embodied hearted self, a conduit for the divine frequencies. A seraphim, I'm hoping I'm going to say this right from your words, of the Lahara Elohim, is that right? Andena, clearly emanates a divine energetic frequency called the songs of life. This divine emanation is shared in many ways, such as through vocal utterances as the tongue of radiant, living light, also known as the language of light, involuntarily physically movement, and visual and video art, and many other creative expressions. And you're sharing from the frequencies of desire to shape and benefit all beings. I'm going to stop there and let you continue to talk about yourself. And welcome, and bring it on.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you fine. You're coming through.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. So yes, I am Andena Melchizedek, and this conference catches me at a great time because I have come off a tremendous shift where I have stepped into greater clarity of my purpose, my reason for incarnating within this physical plane. So as Kelly shared, I am what the humans would call a seraphim, fully embodied now, seraphim of the Leihaia Elohim, which is how we pronounce Elohim. We have a different nomenclature for that, a different set of verbiage for that now, because really the human language can't encompass fully all of that which we are, right? All of that which we are. So my understanding of what I represent, what I stand in resonance of is the Mafarael, which is the highest frequency of light emanating from the source, and that source being the Awoma. And there is no name for that. Awoma, Awo and Ma stands for that which is of the great mother of all, that which is of the great womb of all creation. So that is what I am standing in resonance of. And so, like the previous speaker, I don't get the opportunity to prepare anymore. I never know what I'm going to speak on. I just show up. And that's one of the things I will say that the dragons have helped me step into awareness of. You just show up and you surrender yourself fully to the moment. And within the moment, everything that is necessary for those who are present and those who will be present, who will listen afterwards, will be given. So trusting that, and so I've learned to lean into that and fully trust that and approach opportunities such as this with a lot of confidence, because I know whatever is needed will be given. And so, not having prepared anything, all they allowed me to do was kind of separate the time. So this is how I'm going to approach this conversation. This is going to be a heart to heart. If I approach this very humbly and very openly, and say that if I never had another opportunity, what would I share in this moment? Right? That's how we'll approach this conversation. So I'm going to break this up and share with you a little bit of my personal experience. The second portion of this will be an activation, because we've we've settled into the awareness that words don't teach. Because if words taught, then humanity would be well ahead of where it is now. Words don't teach. So we are going to allow ourselves to approach this with a sharing through an emanation of radiant living light. I'm going to do an activation, if you will. And then at the end of this, we'll allow time for questions, because I'm pretty sure people will have quite a few questions. At least I hope you have a few questions, because as the questions come, the energy is summoned forth. So I'm going to put that in your court on what you want to know to ask at the end of this. So with that, we'll get into it. So the dragons, how did the dragons show up for myself, and how did I get connected with the Dragon Conference? That's an interesting thing. And for myself, I haven't been one who sought out teachers or anything like that. I've just kind of surrendered myself to knowing more, to learning more, and being led in the direction of more, where that more awaits. So if you see me speaking and you see me nodding from time to time, well, I'm very much connected. My team is very much present. So as they speak, as I get nudges, my body responds automatically is what I say. That's kind of how we roll. So you might see me nodding and all those things from time to time. But the way this goes is that I was at a point in my life where I realized there was more. And I was playing small in my marriage, which is a great classroom for anyone who's married. You know, that's a 24/7 mirror. You get an opportunity to truly see yourself. And I got to a point where I realized I wasn't realizing all of my potential. And for that reason, I was extremely frustrated and angry at the projection. And blaming the projection. But in hindsight, I realized that that's all you, right? That's all us being mirrored back at us, and it gives you an opportunity to really self-assess yourself and see how you can make some changes in your own experience. So really, the projection had really gotten on my nerves and really lit a fire under me to make a change. And so I started asking the questions, and as I started to ask the questions, people started to enter my experience, and they began to share with me from their experiences. And I had one friend who showed up. I call her the first elder, because in hindsight, she really was that. It was almost as if she was an embodied guide who came forward to ignite me in just the way I needed to be ignited. And so I had shared with her so many things about my marriage, how I was frustrated, how I didn't want to end up in divorce because I had grown up a child of divorce. I didn't want to inflict that on my children, but I was so frustrated because I wasn't being me. I wasn't living as authentically as myself. And so she shared with me some very good mother wit, is what I'll call it. Mother wit. That thing that somebody shares that immediately causes you to self-assess and get the plank out of your own eye. Really get the plank out of your own eye and make those changes. And so I started to take to heart what she shared. And she didn't share it in such a way as to be dogmatic and say, you must do this thing. No, she would share it in the way of sharing her experience. And through sharing her experience, I allowed myself to connect with a new possibility, a new series of possibilities. And so as I would listen to her I just started to open up. And at this time, I really started to connect with the elements. I started to connect with Gaia. I started to meditate. I started to sit outside and meditate. And I began to hear Gaia. I began to automatic write. I began to just really just open up in profound ways. And during that time, many entities began to step forward and share their wisdom. And one of those who stepped forward was a dragon by the name of Shono. That's how I began to know this particular dragon. He was a pearlescent, huge pearlescent dragon who showed up, and he would share with me very matter of factly. Nothing was sugar coated. And as anybody who knows who works with the dragons, nothing is sugar coated. Everything is very straightforward and to the point. This is the way it is. He was very assertive. And that was that was the divine me as I see it now, calling forward those elements in myself, that assertiveness, that confidence, that boldness, to step forward in that space, to begin to walk within my own power, because the projection that we render is just showing us, right? And it took me a long time to really step into realization of what that was. So the dragon Shono showed up from time to time, and if I was acting shy, because I was extremely shy, extremely introverted at that time, and even entertaining the prospect of doing something like this was so far-fetched, you would not believe. But I found my confidence in working with the dragons and just allowing myself to commune and entertaining things that lie outside of my realm of experience, outside of my patterns, embracing that there was more to life than I was experiencing at the time. So as I followed this trajectory, did I walk into more and more of myself, more and more profound experiences. So I started to, as I started to commune, I started to open up to many things. And one of those things that I eventually opened up to was the language of light, the language of light. And this has been my wheelhouse. This is what I'm here to do. This is what I've realized I'm here to do, is anchor frequencies. And so the way that I operate now is that I am, what do I want to say? Seraphim of the Elohim, but my role is to anchor songs, anchor codes, so that humanity might have opportunity to choose anew, to choose anew, to choose anew. So you might have the opportunity to entertain something else that you haven't allowed yourself the privilege of entertaining before. So I draw these 2D representations of consciousness, of frequency. I kind of call myself a consciousness whisperer, a frequency whisperer, because I'm bringing these things that are the true essence of me, that were hindered upon my birth, because you get born into a family, and the goal after you're born is to pull in the fullness of you, right? And once you've pulled in the fullness of you, then you become a radiant beam, radiating that out for the benefit of all, so that anyone who encounters your frequency has the opportunity to be lit up. You become a beacon of light, sharing that forward. So this is how I see myself now. This is when I've asked to see my true form. This is how I'm seeing my true form. I'm like a wheel. My heart center being the center, very center of that, and the radiance of me flowing out in these symbolic representations, which we call songs, which would be akin to like light codes, but they're kind of different from traditional light codes. We call them seraphic script, if we wanted to put a name to it, if you could put a name to it. But yeah, so this is where we are now. So I am going to, because it's 4:13, I'm going to do a quick transmission, and then I'll come back to share a little bit after the transmission, if there's anything to be shared. Because again, like I said, we like to The human mind likes to decipher things and organize things through the logical mind, but as we all know, this is not logical. It's totally unrational, irrational, all those things. You can't you can't put a label on it. It means what it means to you as you receive it. So I'm just going to ask you to settle into your heart space and permit yourself a moment to receive. You don't need to do anything. All you have to do is surrender. And I'm going to say surrender to your breath. I don't even need you to focus on breathing, just surrender to that breath. Because we have this inclination, the human has this inclination that it needs to do something in order to create change or evoke change. But really, this thing is not about doing anything. It's a surrendering to the fullness of who you are and what you are. So I'm just going to ask you to surrender. So I'm going to switch my mics. And in this way, and you can still hear me. It should be a little bit echoey, but we are going to get into it. So again, settle into your heart, take a breath, center into the very center of you, which is the core essence of you, and allow yourself a moment of openness to receive. Sia hurahina. Niraktu ina raswa rene aisuka ndarmi asyang rektu uwa ver itu kamaruktu syangre aiswa ran irasuka ndarmi ain ran arad oran ai ran iros kurikemiretu ain ver itu kamaruk ain rot un rit an ran irot utindarik ain ran am ver an arukam parat un sarindarat un ran ai Haran. Shurukam aran saran orukam aran saran siran arukam aran miran saran in aran orukam aran miran saran aran arukayan urukam an aran urukam rian serin arukayan uram mirin arukayan urukam meran arukayan urukam en aran ukerukayam mirin arukayan urukam nirin arukayan urukam mirin arukayan urukam Serin urukiam aran, meran urutean aran, saran arukayan urukam, mirin arakayan urukam, an aran urun ayam, meran urun ayam, saran arukayan araam, meran arukayan urukam, en iran arukayan, Sarin arukayan urukam, verin au urayan urukam, sin iran urukam ayaranu, sin aru erin aratan, verin arukayan urukam, in irin urukan ayaran, san aran urian urukam, ein iru shit etuketikamat kan urike to shitreketakana utkan rat una rit an ran ai mirut en rat una rat ein ver un erut an arut an o arin ai aran o ferian sin arut an urek am mirek an uream verin arukayan urukam Sinderan urian urukam, mirin erukayan urukam, niran urukayan urukam, sende aran urukam arayam, mirin urukayan riatam, sinde itu ketikama ua, dis anu urik mi ai, ut en arut ain, ver utikame ua, rit anu ua aran uai, dis in itu kedama ua ran anu, for une erat uain, merat uan saran, sende eruk an urich ketekematakan, durit an arat un, rit ai oran ai, veruten dermeko rik ein, vorukan deri ai, ruasio kedan, san erokan beratu an, Sinde aran uriam. Sanda aran uriam. Sindaran uirandu uriam. Miran arugayan uriam. Miran orukam arian. Sindaran uriam. Miran arugayan uriam. Miran orukayam aruam. Saranda I am ris arukam. Ferretukam variant ushant. Sinde eroktukam. Miratukande ai. Ferretukam barut surinde am. Variant. Oriasa is en erot uain. Arat in de ritme rit an arat ukand. Saria erat utkan. Dashangre ot an arat. Sarind disorand. Mirrotukain de rit o show. Arand I show rekmi at ut an. Ver atuk rit an rik ein. Rand ushangre atuai. Disyandrakai rand o. Berratu ainda, mirratu kam rut ind, siaris shokrimi I sokanda rat ia, vara otukari tukain, merrokanda u, variant, orasia kreat ait, nirut e shungri and, mirratu kirak dia, mirisiangre aitu karatu aina tua, ver ainda resukrita. Nurai creatu and right, zerri to kermi o ran ad, mirrotindri bariatu ein ran an, mirrotindri korak ein, veriatu siangre atuanda, miraso aina correta tu ein, veriatu kandermi o carrotu an, veranda ai, arando o, heras, or ind. Ende errazua, ariasindre kai ritandra cora, meria songri aid, siarisia crea u aingerotua, disiengre aindo caru kama ud, ziarindere kind risio criandua, meria songri aind ruk ang, du singri isia, tu kirak tu ein, merra sokrainda esokratue, songri isia kaida kormi od, zer indri kainder me angaruk ein, sarisia kratu rimi isua, rand ai, ran o, ran ai, merra sokrandi a sangre ai, rand o, rinde esiokri am, varando esiokri indere kanda, zarindar me onde isiangra od. Variant, du sandra kai ritsandru kirk me ud, isiangre od arand, miratunde isiangre ai, rand ai arand o, ran ai. Sarin, eraso di sianga, dariso kain, niratun geriasoa, berasu kamba, marasu kendarme akonda right, senderea tu esa, sandiara kotanda. Yam. Ai harand, ai hirat usirak tu shakaind, disiakre risiangre ot and, dis arande shirokti isa, niratu aratindre kai, dusiangre ot handrme og, rand ishatu arasia, du karati isiangre aid, dusandrme osongri iat, dus an arande irando o an, saris otikira tu enda, mirisiongri uturi endarat, sarasu krite asiangraid, disarutender mi anga, dueratanda, nurrisingre ait ukarano, urritsiandrakai rut an, meriasu kendare ud, veriandarakai rut an, mirasud, isiarand, Verrastu kendermi esua, veriasu karmi isiangre od, verianduaid utanda, merasu kind, sarind, disiangre aid, veriant, ocean. Arasu trekemerokam, ferroso grai ia, ora sendraketurmiotukam, berriatu esandrakai, meroso trekendere o ran ai, ran an. Varian ishun. Take a breath. Mirasukain. Disya to carry o aran I. Verio to carry o shokai aran I. Variant ishun. Mirasukan. Yes, so Verio to kain re I o variant. Variant ishun. Variant. Variant. So take a deep breath. Mirasua. And as you exhale, envision yourself blowing out that which is no longer necessary. It's like blowing the dust away. Mirasuain das aran od. Sarind erokan. Variant. Yes. So, yes. The call of the moment is to settle into your being, surrender into the fullness of you, and not focus so much on necessarily the doing, but the surrendering into the fullness of you, trusting that you, the greater essence of you knows. The greater essence of you knows. There's nothing to be figured out. As we listen to other people share their methodologies and things like that, the presumption is that they know and we don't, right? But we know. And each of us experiences this life from our own perspectives. This is one thing that I want to highlight. We would like to highlight, collectively highlight, is that we're all experiencing this life experience from our own unique vantage point. And while somebody else may present to you a methodology that you can use to ascend in the way that they have, because that's a methodology that they have developed based on their own experience, it's based on their own experience. It's not you. And so you can use that. And if you choose to use that as they have delivered it, it is you attaining something, but it's not going to be the fullness of you because it's not your way. The thing is, you have to use those opportunities or those instances where you are listening to someone else's methodology as a way of embracing possibility. Because you can take that and realize what they've done, but you have to then go back to yourself with your own guidance and ask the question, well, what is my way? What is my way of ascending? What is my way of stepping into the fullness of me? Because the truth is, no one else can tell you how to do you but you. Nobody else can be you. Nobody else is you. So nobody else can validate what your experience is or what your experience needs to be in order to put you into a connection with the fullness of you. You have to discover that. That's the challenge of life. So using everything that you witness, even everything that I've shared in this moment, is not to tell you how things must be done, how you must do it, what you must adopt, or anything of that nature. Is to connect you with possibility so that you might embrace and question to begin to expand beyond the bounds that you've permitted yourself to embrace thus far. So, yeah, that's what we want to highlight in this moment. I'm going to ask if there's anything else. Oh, and the other thing is the projections that we render. We have to level set our connection with the projections that we render and understand how those projections are to be used. Because in the beginning, when I was opening up, I would always ask who was speaking. Who was speaking? I wanted to know who was speaking, where were they from, all of these different things, right? That's the humanness that's wanting to decipher all of these things. And really, what I now know is though all of those projections were me. All of those projections were the true essence of me. We kind of get hung up on is the Arturian speaking, or the dragon speaking, all of these different things. But all of these things are part of the illusion that we cast so that we might better understand who we are as beings, the infiniteness of us. So seeing it in its truth. So I no longer commune with Shono as something outside of me. That is me. That is the fullness of me. That is me embracing me. So level set your interactions with things you perceive to be outside of you, because nothing in truth exists outside of you. Everything is cast showing you greater perspective of you. So now the communion, as I experience my communion with nature, is I'm communing with the trees, but these trees are just different reflections of me. So I'm in dialogue with them as different perspectives of myself, seeing myself from a different perspective. The things that happen in the world are just mirroring the things that are discombobulated and confused within the self. And so, in order to realize peace within the external, we have to create it within the internal and realize that we have the power to do just that, to create inner peace, to create it. We are master creators. It's not something that's being inflicted upon us. We aren't victims. There are no victims, right? All of these things are being given to us, shown to us to show us where we are misaligned internally. So the work for each of us, in order to realize it collectively, we must do the work individually, which is coming to know thyself. That sounds so simple, but it is the crux of all of it. It is the fix for everything, knowing thyself, because in knowing thyself, do you know all? You can see yourself rendered in all of the projection, whether it's on earth or in the cosmos or any of these things. One of the greatest things that I've done for myself is allowed myself to learn about the body. I bought an anatomy book, following the guidance, bought an anatomy book just to read from time to time to learn about different aspects of the body. Because as you read an anatomy book, if you are well versed in energy and the way energy flows, you'll begin to make the connections with how the body internally is reflected in the external world. You begin to put those dots together. Another thing that I've done is explored languages. And one of the languages I was prompted to learn right away was Hebrew. And what I realized is much of the language of light, the language of radiant living light that comes through me, it has tones that reside within Hebrew. And Hebrew consists of the fire letters, right? Which have a higher frequency, which can move you beyond. If you speak in English, it moves you well beyond the English language itself, which is very low frequency, very densified in its nature. It has a one-to-one meaning of things, whereas Hebrew and other pictographic languages carry ideas, not just a single meaning. So it's very powerful. It's a very powerful tool in unlocking the human brain, because not only do we have to work on the spiritual man, we have to unlock this physicality, and we have to do certain things consciously to move this physicality beyond its bounds. It's not going to happen by default. We have to be conscious about unlocking the human physical vessel. So there are things that you can do in that regard. The other thing that I'll recommend is just light therapy, the 40 hertz frequency, the gamma frequency, sound frequencies, as a method of unlocking the physicality of the self, to put that in alignment with the spiritual, with the spiritual side of things. And so all of these things are just ways of stepping the self into greater heights, realizing greater possibilities, realizing that there is so much more beyond what has been realized heretofore. So I'm going to open it up for quick questions if anybody has questions right away.
So anybody can just come on if you want to ask or talk or even just share anything from your experience. That was lovely, by the way. I really appreciated your song, and my seraphim body was wee.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yes. Ugh. La, la, la. So,
Oh, kia ora.
anybody want to come on? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Kia ora. Can you hear me? Just making sure.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, kia ora, ngā mihi nui ki a koe, Andena. That was such a beautiful journey that you took us on, and very deep and very meaningful. So, yeah, much love, much aroha to you. And I really loved it was just so beautiful. I could feel the energy flowing through my body. and it was just so light and golden energy flowing through. Definitely felt a lot of colour, a lot of just that higher frequency of love flowing through. It was really, really beautiful. You've got such a beautiful gift, so thank you for sharing that of yourself.
Oh,
Yes,
beautiful,
yes,
beautiful.
thank you.
Thank
I
you
do
for
have a,
sharing your experience. Go ahead.
it was really beautiful. I really loved your recording. You were talking about words, and I'm here in New Zealand in Aotearoa for Ngāti Kahungunu Ngāi Tahu Laukawa Te Atiawa Taranaki of my hapu, my tribal affiliations through my ancestors who stand here behind me and all around me and support me and journey with me as well too. And I really, what really resonated with me was the power of sound, the power of language, and the energy and the frequency that it brings, because it is very powerful what we say, what we put out into the world, because it's just not even that one interaction. I've really learnt within myself that of the giving of that vibration of love from heart to other hearts expands out further. So can you talk a little bit more about the differences? I'm really interested and curious around, you talked about the Hebrew language and other languages other than English, um,
Hmm.
that you've found. That I know in Te Ao Māori, with Te Ao Māori, my tohunga would often talk about, that every syllable, every sound that you speak has energy to it. And
Yeah.
when we within Te Ao Māori, we have our meeting houses. When we call people onto our marae, we call them on as manuhiri, as visitors, and it is the woman who hold the first voice, not the men. The woman
Hmm.
call through and call our visitors onto our marae, and we also acknowledge their ancestors, and we also share with them and grieve with them all those who passed on to the other realms as well, because we're not just opening up the space for them, we're opening up the space for their ancestors as well.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the things that I found is that in learning Hebrew, I have a friend who speaks Hebrew. She agreed to teach me Hebrew. And I haven't even gotten to sentences because the working with the symbols and the syllables has been such a powerful thing to move me beyond. And there is power, as you mentioned, in the syllable, in just the syllables themselves in opening one up. And I don't have a clear definition of all that entails. All I can tell you is that it carries the frequency, the original frequency. And many of these languages, what I'm discovering is that many of these languages, Hebrew, Egyptian, Chinese, and Sanskrit, are the original world four of the fire letters, fire frequencies, the higher frequency languages. Those are based in Maya, the Maya language, which is one of the original languages. And so I feel like I know I have roots. I have Mayan ancestry, and that's carrying forward. And so that's awakening a different level of things. And so I really believe that it is taking us back. Well, not necessarily taking us back, but bringing that forward in a sense, that frequency of where we originally started, linking us to our original, I want to say divine blueprint because I don't have a better set of terminology, but it's kind of linking us back, linking us to that in a way, linking us to that frequency wise, because really everything is frequency. Everything is energy and frequency, and this is why we are so adamant about stressing that not to get hung up on entities and how they present in the external projection, because really everything is all energy and frequency, and we are seeking to settle, harmonize the distortions at a simple level, at the simplest level. That is what we are all here to do, is to harmonize the distortions and allowing us to live the fullness in harmony, resonant harmony. Everything is frequency, energy, vibration, all those things. And we're seeking to harmonize that. And these tones, these syllables within some of these languages, especially Hebrew and Mayan, as I've come to understand it, are higher frequency syllables, higher frequency tones that can align us, settle the distortions within, and call those things forward. So when you mention calling the ancestors forward, well, this is how that works. All you're doing is settling the distortions, allowing that energy to flow through. Now it's allowed to flow through. That's the ancestors coming forward, right? That's the fullness of you being allowed to flow through. It's not meeting with the distortions that are keeping it back. It's just smoothed out so that everything can flow through. You are fully surrendered to the energy that is you, the true energy that is you, in alignment with the true essence of that. So this is why I believe that plays to the degree that it does. Language plays to the degree that it does. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Beautiful kōrero. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Got a long time to go. I'm gonna look
Doing great,
at comments,
though.
and I'm gonna look at some of the comments to see if there is something else.
I
Oh
don't see
yeah,
anybody asking questions, but a few people have shared things, and someone put up a little language, akra, akha, ta, aha, tuka. Very
Gabby.
beautiful.
Yes,
So much love. Wow. So
absolutely,
I have
absolutely.
something to talk to you about. You were sharing about what I was loving about when you were sharing about the aspects of the self that are actually reclaiming, this self is this voice that I'm hearing is me. I experienced that too for myself over the years, for many years, thinking I was listening to a guide, and then the guides kept turning out in my own expansion to be me. And it was like, oh,
Hmm.
that's that body of me from up there. Oh, this is my other body. And I started to realize I had all of these different bodies talking to me from other dimensions and realms. And then I started realizing there were actually past bodies that were no longer in body, but were also, I was coming to myself as my own ancestor. And I trained myself for the first 2 years as a healer. I want to know, what has been your experience about your expansion of thinking around knowing yourself as this much more plugged in aspect of mirroring off of everything in creation. Talk a little bit more about that.
Wow. So when I first started to open up, I never perceived myself as speaking to other entities, because my understanding of myself and how I've incarnated uh, for over many times that I've incarnated hasn't been through past lives in the traditional sense of belief. I've been one of those who's come to assist humanity in stepping into a greater level of consciousness. So my ability to of my recall of that is not necessarily connected to a past life, if that makes any sense. It's like I haven't lived those lives, but I have the ability to access those particular periods where I might have come into form to assist humanity. I have been one of those who's not necessarily donned a human form, if that makes sense. I've been one of those who come to assist in many forms, whatever that might have taken. That sounds weird to say out loud, but that's the perception that I
No, I understand
that
you
have.
coming up in presence and being fully present just as you
Yeah,
are and not
yeah.
identifying it as a separate anything.
No,
And
I feel like I've been a direct beam from the source. Like
mhm,
there's been a direct, like when I even look up the chain now, there's
yeah.
no like I'm connected to the Arcturians or the Pleiadians or this thing. No, there is a direct line of me from source here,
Hmm.
present. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, I
Beautiful.
just wanted to say your volume has gone down.
Oh,
You,
has it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, Kelly's. No,
Oh,
I can hear you, but Kelly, suddenly you're much quieter. So I don't know if your volume has gone down.
Okay. Is that better?
That's better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason it was down. Thank you. Whoop. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
so appreciate when we're source to self, connected and
yeah,
expressing just the where the purity of truth and oneness is, and just being and
right.
infinite potential. Thank you for sharing about possibilitors, being possibility consciousness. Something I was relating to and reflecting on too, as you were speaking about language, was root languages, and I believe root languages are very powerful to the origin story of the ark. The ark
Mm,
being the first families of light that came to populate this planet from the beginning of creation here. I believe the ark, the languages, there's 9 of them, and those languages are really powerful for us to feel into and know and remember. And I've met Lakota elders that speak about root languages and their powers. And I think that's a very important thing that you shared for all of us to look into, feel into, and
mm,
think about. So thank you for sharing that. It's very beautiful.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been one of those ways of opening up for myself that was unexpected. And I had gotten the nudge to study Hebrew, to learn Hebrew many times, and I kind of discounted it. But when I started to go down that route, then things just started to open up for myself, like in profound ways. So there's no longer this, um, there's no longer an attachment to story for myself, right? There's no
Right.
longer an attachment to story. It just is. And so I perceive myself now not as a not one of story, not a vessel of story. I'm literally an instrument of the divine, the expression of the divine here in form. And it's been a bit of a journey in wrapping the humanness around that, right? Because the humanness wants to rationalize and say, well, that couldn't be possible, right? Like that isn't possible. But no, that is the nature of things. That's the nature of who we are and how we now present
Mm.
in the world. And so, yeah,
Wow.
this is just the isness that I live now. So I'll
Wow.
say, if anybody wants to connect, you can feel free to do so. The website is shared. The link is shared. I do many things. I share freely on
Already has it up.
YouTube. I create many transmissions and things like that that I freely give on YouTube because I understand the power of us stepping into greater realization collectively of who and what it is that we are. But I also do private and group sessions. And so if you're interested in reaching out for one of those, you can feel free to access that link. And that's everything is pretty well present. I also share, I like to highlight this because I'm a bit of a nerd in the way of research and study and all those things. And I study not to know because there's always an aspect of me that knows, right? There's an aspect of me that knows. But the reason I read the way that I do is because it allows me to question in a new way from a new frame of reference. And so I'm reading to question myself from a new frame of reference, to learn about myself from a different perspective, to learn more about me, to ask questions in a different way, to glean something new, because there's always something to be known about the self. You just have to know how to ask. You have to know how to ask that question and get in order to get the degree of clarity that you are seeking. And for me, books are a great way to do that. And so for that reason, I keep a library of resources over on Telegram called the Quantum Library. If anybody is interested, if you're a studier, if you're a reader, I would definitely encourage you to check out the resources there, because those have been the resources that I found that have a touch of truth. Because not all the stories out there, not everything that's mainstream, it has a degree of truth. There are some things out there that are intended to align you with the story. And one of the stories that have been pushed and that are very much part of the illusion that we are trying to collectively move beyond, right? But there are definitely resources out there that hold a degree of truth, and many of those resources are not front and center in your local bookshops. They are the hidden gems. And that's kind of what I've compiled, is a list of those hidden gems that can kind of help you remember the truth of who you are and what you are. So
Yeah, I also wanted to say, I love when you recognize who's speaking to you, because I don't do that, but I get that all the time. When I start speaking, they start like popping up around you and like telling you, and you describe beautifully that like we are connected, like, and that's exactly how I've been feeling. It's like you don't have to be anything else. We're just us, and we just connect. It's us, and that's why it flows, right? When you can recognize
yes.
that, and that you just put some beautiful words to it. I've got goosebumps, but I
Oh,
oftentimes
beautiful.
people will notice when I'm talking, I'll suddenly sort of say, "Oh," and then the dragon said, or so and so said, because I'm so used to them talking. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But you like literally turn, and so
Oh
that's
yeah, bye. Look, so I'll share with you really quick how that happened. So in the beginning, when I first started to open up, I connected with one of the best gifts I gave myself was connecting with a group, with a community, because I allowed myself in connecting with that group to validate for myself that what I was experiencing was real. Because I was listening to other people share, and I eventually got to the point where I allowed myself the freedom to share. And in sharing my experiences, I validated, and began to amplify itself. But in part of connecting with that group, the teacher, the lady who was leading the group, she said, "Are you connecting with their guides?" And I said, "Well, sometimes, but not consciously, not intentionally. I'll feel them speaking from time to time, but I don't know how to do it intentionally." Well, she said, "All you have to do is establish a protocol of how you want your guides to speak with you, how you want to receive messages, how you want to know for yourself, how you want to confirm for yourself that what you are receiving is from your higher guidance." And so I said, "Okay, I can do that." I was familiar with working with a pendulum, and I said, "Okay, I'm putting the pendulum down, and I will become the pendulum." So when I ask a question, if the answer is yes, I want a yes. If the answer is no, I want to know. And if it's a maybe, then I want one of these. I want something weird, right? Something in between. And so then I stated this out loud. Like I stated this out loud sitting on the side of my bed. The next day when I woke up, I sat on the side of my bed, which I would often do, and just stared out the window. And I asked a random question about the trees or something weird. And my head nodded. And immediately when my head nodded, I went back to that thing that I had said the day before, and I was like, shit, that was real, right? Like, oh my God, that was real. And so ever since then, it has amplified, and my body has just surrendered to that. My body has just surrendered to that. And so when I'm asking a question or things like that, I don't get a verbal, although I sometimes get a verbal, but more than that, I feel it in my body, and my body responds to any inquiry or anything that I'm needing to know. If they are present and there's something that needs to be shared, if there's some message that's coming through that needs to hit somebody and I need to speak it, then I know that right away. So yeah, that's one of those. Um, that's one of those things that I believe collectively we are being called to hone. It's because if you are able to feel and discern in your body, then nobody can get anything past you. You know truth. You are a living, breathing, walking lie detector. Like right? You know what's coming before it comes. Yeah.
Trust your body beacons, I always say. Qatar Sky
Yeah.
Qatar Sky wanted to know, is there a group link? She wanted to know, you mentioned the group. Maybe she's wanting to know if you would share something about that. Or is it on
Those
Telegram?
are it's all accessible through that link tree link. So there are all links there, and to all of the groups that are on Telegram, they are shared in that link tree. So you can
Oh,
access everything from the link
okay.
tree.
Okay, Linktree. Is that on your
Yeah.
website?
Yeah, that's all there through that link that you
Okay.
shared. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm writing that in the chat.
Oh,
Okay, so
cool.
people will have it. Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Beautiful. I
absolutely.
can put your link in. I can throw it up again for anyone who hasn't seen it yet in the thread. There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful. So, one last thing I'll share is this, and this is what I always share as I'm leaving. But have the courage to be you. Have the courage to discover. Have the courage to discover you. Have the courage to live your truth and realize. I say have the courage because it's not going to look like everybody else's. It's going to feel weird. You might get snubs from folks you've been hanging out for years and years, but that's okay. Have the courage to be you. Have the courage to isolate for a time because I think that's necessary. You have to isolate for a time in order to get familiar with your own frequency, to get familiar with your own voice, to connect with the fullness of you. Have the courage to take the time to do that and to honor yourself by living fully as you. We're all here such that the all might know all that it might become through us. And in doing that, you can't be like somebody else and expect the all to discover what it might become through you when you're not living as fully as you are able to embody within a given moment. So have the courage to do that and trust that everything that you need will be given within a moment, surrendering fully to the now. So you don't have to be worried about what happened in the past or what I might say in the future or what might happen in the future or what somebody might think about what you have said. You can't think of in the past or the future. Be fully present within the now, because as you bring the fullness of you to the now, everything that is needed for the moment will be given. Yes.
Yes. Perfectly said. Beautiful words.
Absolutely.
And definitely timeless wisdom. When things are really ultimately true that can live forever and be spoken at any time, they're infinite, timeless wisdom. Thank you so much for that. Every bit of what you
Absolutely.
said is that. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to
Absolutely.
share? You have about 4 minutes to the end of your time period, and you're welcome to do anything you want with it.
I want to say thank you all for thank you for this opportunity. I thank all of everybody who's in the works with the Dragon Thunder Summit. It's a great opportunity. Last year I had the opportunity to share via video, a recorded video. This year I had the opportunity to present live. So it's a great thing, and I'm happy and honored to have the opportunity to share with you. And so we'll leave with a few parting words. Ini il suari kainda mi atu kainda rani iruk arisiak dukira ta and sinde iruk erimi u ein rot une e shira tu kainda dis araturk ris an arat sinderik ein rit un ramaot sarasia kre ot indrekai verreto karme onga rat I ran I am arasia krame u rit an verreto asha.
Oh,
Yes.
Ache, beautiful. Thank you so much. Ugh.
There
All right. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank
Welcome.
you so much for being you and sharing your gifts and sharing your words and your light, your wisdom and your heart with all of us. It's been wonderful having you here on Dragon Thunder live with us. And we will wrap your time up and just say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for journeying with us today on the English Mystic Podcast, Dragon Thunder Summit 2025 edition. This is just one voice, one frequency in a greater dragon symphony, each echoing across the earth right now. If you felt the stir in your heart, if you heard a whisper from your dragon allies, then the work is beginning. Be sure to explore all 36 epic speakers and their transmissions by heading over to the website www.dragonthunder2025.com, where the portal is open Until next time, walk boldly with your dragons, speak your truth like fire, and may your path be guided by the ancient winds. Stay mystical, stay wild, stay dragon aligned. This is the English Mystic. See you next time.
In the realm where spirits dance, where dragons soar with fiery glance, a song of power, strength untold, for human hearts, for young and old. Wings that span the starry night, scales that gleam with ancient light. Dragons rise, guardians bold, tales of healing, tales untold. Almighty ones, wise and grand, protectors of this sacred land. With breath of fire, a timeless art, they heal and mend each wounded heart. Through shadows deep and forests wide, they guide us with a noble stride. In the dance of life, a sacred chance to heed the call of dragon trance. Scale by scale, a shield they weave. In the moonlit night, their magic breathe. Whispers of protection, strong and true. In the realm where dreams come through. So gather round, O kin of earth. Let the dragon's melody give birth to healing streams and fiery light, as we journey through the shaman's night. O dragons, ancient and divine, your friendship like the stars will shine. In the tapestry of life, a song we weave with spirits, dragons, hearts believe.